Thank you. Thank you, Jill, for starting the recording. Hello, everybody. My name is Juanita Brandt, and I am Run Calgary's volunteer coordinator. I know I've met several of you and probably talked to most of you over the course of the last few months or even just few weeks. And I'm really happy to be taking us through this volunteer session today. This is our general online volunteer orientation. So we've had some other volunteer orientations throughout the week that were for different groups that just require a little bit more training and specific information. And if you were not in one of those groups, then you are in the right place. And I just wanted to mention as well, if you are part of our medical team, first of all, thank you. Or the Canadian Ski Patrol team, again, thank you. You actually don't need to be on this call. The required training or the specific training that you'll receive for your role will be done at the medical tent when you arrive on site. But you're more than welcome to stay and enjoy this presentation if you would like. I just want to make sure that my screen is still sharing. So I'm going to run us through the presentation. There's going to be some standard slides that every volunteer group has seen so that we make sure we're all seeing the same information and staying aligned with each other. There's some pre-recorded scripts that were done by Jill, who just got us started earlier in the session, and we'll listen to those. And then I'm going to also provide just some details around volunteer check-in, more specific information around volunteering and the volunteer crew and the program. So with that, I will get us started. As Jill was mentioning, I can't see you and I can't hear you, but you can put messages into the chat and I'll keep an eye on the chat. And then Jill is also helping me out in the background and she's keeping an eye on the chat. So feel free. And I am going to get us started.
A big welcome to all volunteers attending the online orientation session. My name is Jill Petco. I'm the operations manager with Run Calgary, and I have the privilege of welcoming you to the 2025 Servus Calgary Marathon. On behalf of the entire Run Calgary team and its board of directors, we wish to thank you for choosing to share your time, your energy, and your expertise so that we can put on an event that is world-class for participants, spectators, honored guests, and other volunteers. We're going to review some general information that's applicable to all volunteer areas. We're going to talk about what's new in 2025, review volunteer expectations and code of conduct, discuss the event alert system, also called EAS, discuss emergency procedures, including medical and non-medical emergencies, review missing person procedures, discuss volunteer parking on Stampede Park, and discuss the volunteer check-in process. If at any time you have questions, you can contact Juanita Brandt, our volunteer coordinator, by sending an email to volunteer@calgarymarathon.com. So sit back, relax, and let's get started. It's important to start by reviewing our volunteer code of conduct, which you agreed to when you signed your volunteer waiver at the time of volunteer registration. We uphold a friendly and respectful environment that reinforces socially responsible behavior. This means that we expect everyone to treat others with courtesy and respect. Discrimination or harassment is not acceptable, and everyone must stop or report any incidents of discrimination or harassment. If you see something, say something, and know that any report that you give will be treated confidentially. We are a community that cares deeply about health, wellness, and longevity. So let's do this right. If you're feeling unwell, please do not attend your volunteer shift. Contact your volunteer lead to advise them of your absence. We are a mask-friendly organization and support your choice, so please feel comfortable if you would like to wear a mask at your volunteer shift. Make sure you keep your hands clean at all times, as it's the best way to steer clear of germs. Run Calgary uses the standardized color-coded event alert system, also called EAS, to communicate the status of projected venue and course conditions to all participants, spectators, volunteers, and event staff.
Juanita, I can't hear the sound anymore. Do you want me to just speak to the slides?
Talk about emergency procedures related to a non-life-threatening injury.
Are we good
On
now?
race day only, again,
We'll have to go back to EAS.
Or Sunday, May 25.
Sorry, guys. Hold on
So
one
now
sec.
let's turn our attention to
This one?
That's correct. Let's start there again.
Calgary uses the standardized color-coded event alert system, also called EAS, to communicate the status of projected venue and course conditions to all participants, spectators, volunteers, and event staff. Status will be updated daily during race week on our website, and the link can be found on this slide. Please take the time to review the different levels and understand the impact that it has on the event. So let's talk about emergency procedures, first starting with potentially life-threatening injury. The first step is to call 911 or have someone else call if there are others nearby. Follow the directions of the EMS dispatcher. Provide basic life support if you are qualified to do so, focusing on the priorities of airway, breathing, and circulation. Secure the area. Do not let anyone near the person unless they are part of the 911 response system, Calgary Police Service, Servus Calgary Marathon Medical Team, or race staff. Prevent further injury. And on race day only, being Saturday, May 24th or Sunday, May 25th, you need to contact the Servus Calgary Marathon Medical Dispatcher at 403-354-4976. This is an updated number for 2025, so please be sure to update it in your phone. Again, that's 403-354-4976. Let the dispatcher know that you have a serious injury and tell them your Stampede Park location or your location on the race course, including the nearest kilometer marker. If there is someone nearby with a race radio, contact the medical team on channel 2. Do not broadcast any details on the radio. Only use the individual's bib number to identify them. And complete an incident report form, which can be obtained at an information tent at Stampede Park or in the aid station kit on course. Help determine exactly what happened and attempt to find witnesses for additional information. So let's talk about emergency procedures related to a non-life-threatening injury. On race day only, again, Saturday, May 24 or Sunday, May 25, contact the Servus Calgary Marathon Medical Dispatcher at 403-354-4976 or via channel 2 if there is someone nearby with a race radio. The Servus Calgary Marathon Medical Dispatcher will send medics to your location for patient assessment, treatment, and or transport. So now let's turn our attention to the missing persons procedure. The first scenario we'll discuss is a missing or lost child on Stampede Park or NMAX Park. You may be approached by a frantic parent or guardian who can't locate their child, and they're looking to you for help. Please note that we define a guardian as the parent, legal guardian, or most responsible adult for the child. The first step is to inform a race official and obtain assistance. If there are no race officials in the vicinity, please send someone to locate one immediately. This could be your volunteer area lead or another individual wearing a safety vest and radio. Stay with the guardian until the race official arrives. In the meantime, get the guardian's name and contact information so that we can reach them if needed. If the guardian is reunited with their child while waiting for a race official to arrive, immediately inform that race official that this has happened when they do come to your location. Ensure all involved guardians do not leave until contact with Calgary Stampede security is made. And most importantly, complete an incident report form, which can be obtained at an information tent. The next missing person scenario we'll discuss is a found child. In this case, the guardian is missing. Stay with and comfort the child. Get down to their level and reassure them that we are there to help them. Stay where you are and scan for a frantic guardian. Reunite if successful. Importantly, obtain the name and phone number of the guardian so that we can follow up if necessary. If unsuccessful, inform a race official and obtain assistance. If there are no race officials in the vicinity, send someone to locate one immediately. This could be your volunteer area lead or someone wearing a safety vest and radio. Stay where you are with the child until the race official arrives. They will come to you. If the child is reunited with their guardian while waiting for a race official, immediately inform that race official when they do arrive that this has happened. And most importantly, complete an incident report form, which can be obtained at the information tent, including the name and phone number of the guardian. The last scenario we'll discuss for missing person procedure is that of a missing adult. To manage the situation, please direct the concerned party to the closest information tent in the start zone or in the festival zone. If you're needing additional assistance, please inform a race official and have them contact Forward Command. Again, a race official can be your volunteer area lead or someone in a safety vest wearing a radio. Please note, this is especially important if the missing adult has special needs or concerning medical condition. If you're not sure how to handle the situation, find a race official and ask for assistance. Now let's turn our attention to volunteer parking. Volunteer parking will be in the infield parking lot on Thursday, May 22nd, Friday, May 23rd, Saturday, May 24th, and Sunday, May 25th. For Thursday only, you will be required to enter in your assigned Park Plus code into a Park Plus machine. Park Plus machines are located in the infield parking lot and throughout Stampede Park. You cannot use a Park Plus app to enter in this code. For Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, you must print and display a volunteer parking pass on your vehicle's dashboard. If you happen to forget your parking pass, you can ask for one when checking in for your volunteer shift. Please note that if you are not displaying a volunteer parking pass and have not entered a code into the Park Plus machine or paid for parking, you will most likely be ticketed. To access the infield parking lot, you will enter from 25th Avenue Southeast and Nat Christie Gate at the top of the hill. You're going to pass through the parking booths and follow the signs to drive through the vehicle tunnel and park in the infield parking lot. And you will exit the infield parking lot via the stairwell onto the tarmac. The route for accessing the infield parking lot can be seen by the blue line on the map shown on the slide. For individuals that are volunteering on Stampede Park or NMAX Park, there are 2 locations where you can check in for your volunteer shift, depending on your day of volunteering. The Volunteer Center is located in 30X at the south end of GMC Stadium. Meals, snacks, and refreshments will be available at this location. It will be open Thursday from 8:45 a.m. to 8 p.m., Friday from 8:45 to 8 p.m., Saturday from 5:30 a.m. to 6 p.m., and Sunday from 5 a.m. to 3 p.m. This is the only check-in location for those who are volunteering on Thursday and Friday, and it will be the best check-in location for those arriving by transit, biking to Stampede Park, or walking on Saturday and Sunday. We will also have a volunteer satellite check-in tent located in the infield parking lot. It will be open on Saturday from 5:45 a.m. to 11:15 a.m. and Sunday from 5:15 a.m. to 10:45 a.m. This will be the best check-in location for those who are parking on site in the infield parking lot for their Saturday or Sunday shift. There are a couple of other important volunteer resources to make note of. Our volunteer hospitality tent is located in NMAX Park, across from the red gazebo and presentation stage. It will have limited snacks and refreshments available, and it will be open during festival space hours. So on Saturday, this will be from 8:30 a.m. to 12 p.m., and on Sunday, it'll be from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. Please note that volunteer hospitality tent hours are subject to change. We also invite you to visit the Volunteer Hub, linked in this slide, to answer your frequently asked questions. You can also reference the Volunteer Handbook for more volunteer information, and it will also be available on the Volunteer Hub. Race start times and projected numbers are shown below. On Saturday, May 24th, the A6 Runkeeper 10-kilometer race will start at 7:30 a.m. with 5,000 participants projected. The Good Life Fitness 5-kilometer race will start at 9:15 a.m. and we're projecting 3,400 participants. The We Wild Ones Kids Race number 1 will start at 10:30 a.m. with 750 little participants. And the We Wild Ones Diaper Dash will start at 11:30 a.m. with 80 of our tiniest participants. Sunday, May 25th, we'll have our Centaur Subaru Half Marathon and our Servus Calgary Full Marathon, both starting at 7 a.m. The Half Marathon is projected to have 6,000 participants, while the Full Marathon is projected to have 2,500 participants. And finally, the We Wild Ones Kids Race number 2 will start at 9:30 a.m. with another 750 little participants. It's going to be a very busy race week leading up to race weekend. Just take a look at the schedule. There will be a cheer sign making taking place at the Cole Garden as part of their Crafty Mondays on Monday, May 19th, starting at 7 p.m. Tuesday, May 20th, starting at 6 p.m., there will be a 5-kilometer shakeout run with Run Calgary and Oakberry, Kensington. Starting at 6 p.m. on Wednesday, May 21st, there will be a documentary watch party at the Plaza Theatre for Go On, Be Brave, and an opportunity to meet Andrea Pete. On Thursday, May 22nd at 7 p.m., we're hosting a first-timers dinner and run talk with Olympian Trevor Hoffbauer. And on Friday, May 23rd, from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m., Package Pickup and Runners Expo will be taking place at GMC Stadium. The Elite Briefing will be taking place at 4 p.m. in the briefing room at GMC Stadium. And at 7 p.m., there will be a pace party and shakeout run hosted by Alexi Pappas and the 2025 pace team, starting in GMC Stadium courtyard. On Saturday, May 24th, things start to get busy. At 6:30 a.m., our bag check and bike lockup will open. At 7:30 a.m., our 10-kilometer race will start, with the start line closing at 7:40 a.m. From 7:30 a.m. to 12 p.m., the post-race festival will be open in NMAX Park. At 9:15 a.m., our 5-kilometer race will start, with the start line closing at 9:25 a.m. From 10 a.m. to 5 p.m., Day 2 of Package Pickup and Runners Expo will be taking place at GMC Stadium. 10:30 a.m. is Kids Race number 1 start. 11:30 a.m. will be the Diaper Dash start. And at 12 p.m., our bag check and bike lockup will close. For Sunday, May 25th, at 6 a.m., our bag check and bike lockup will open. At 7 a.m., our half marathon and full marathon will start, with the start line closing at 7:10 a.m. From 7 a.m. to 2 p.m., the post-race festival will be open in NMAX Park. 9:30 a.m. will be the start of our kids race number 2. At 2 p.m., our bag check and bike lockup will close. And at 5 p.m., it's the after party at Cole Garden. So what's new in 2025? Well, to start, we've gone to 2 days of racing. So this means that our 5 kilometer race, 10 kilometer race, kids race number 1 and diaper dash are taking place on Saturday, May 24th, while the half marathon and full marathon races, along with kids race number 2, are taking place on Sunday, May 25th. Our start line has shifted further north on Stampede Trail, and this is to manage the City of Calgary construction and Stampede Park construction. So this in turn means that we have a new start route. So we will be exiting Stampede Park via 5A gate instead of the usual Stampede Trail northbound. We've added in a second kids race. So this means that an additional 750 little participants will be potentially taking part in their first race ever. We've introduced a green bib program, which means that participants choose to forego receiving a race shirt and finisher medal in exchange for a $10 donation being made on their behalf to the Great Divide Trail Association. We've expanded our calendar of race week events, and we have a record number of registration numbers expected. We are projecting to have over 18,000 participants racing with us on Saturday and Sunday. If you have any questions, you can visit the Volunteer Hub linked in the slide to answer frequently asked questions, ask your volunteer area lead, or contact Juanita Brandt, Run Calgary Volunteer Coordinator, by email at volunteer@calgarymarathon.com. Now it's time to learn more about your upcoming volunteer shift.
Thank you, Jill. I know you're in the background, but for doing all of those recordings. And I don't know about everyone else on the call, but I am just so excited for this weekend coming up. You can see how much is going on. And one of the messages that I wanted to really make sure I hit in this presentation is just the message of gratitude to all of you, because you are making all of this happen. Everything that's happening this week, everything that's happening on venue and on course on our race days could not be done without the amazing volunteer crew that Run Calgary is so lucky to have, and the Servus Calgary Marathon is so lucky to have. So thank you so much. You're making the event happen, and you're putting so much into the community. Really appreciate that, and really hope that you can take away a very meaningful experience as well. And some of what we're going to get into next are some pieces of the volunteer program that are designed to give back to you, and we'll highlight a few key things that we're doing to make sure that you are seeing value and getting value from your experience, as well as enjoying your experience. I just want to do just a quick check. It sounds like everyone can hear me. I'm not seeing any texts come up, but I just had some audio issues on my end, but you can still hear me. It can still see my screen. If not, just drop a text or a message. So I've just got a few slides here. It's not going to be a really extensive presentation here, but I will go through the slides, and then if we've got time at the end to take any questions from the chat, we'll do that as well. Do want to just kind of point out what you can expect if you're a new volunteer. I know there are quite a few new volunteers, and I know there are quite a few longtime volunteers, but we come together as this volunteer group, and it's a real collective experience. We might not know each other. We're all going to know who we are because we're going to have volunteer shirts on. And we will work best if we work with each other, support each other, and just know that we're all in this event for the collective good of it. So support each other. Make sure you do wear your shirt so you're recognizable as a volunteer, so other volunteers can come to you for help. You can go to other volunteers if you need help. I have a point here that says dress for safety and success. So we want you to be comfortable on site. And depending on the weather, you're going to want to, dress appropriately for that, which in Calgary usually means layers. So make sure you do come prepared with um, layered clothing in case you're outside and it's hot, or if we get some wind, cloud coverage, rain, come prepared for that as well. And be safe with your clothing. So clothing that is just easy to move around in. You're not going to be like restricted in it. And also closed-toed shoes, really important just because there's lots going on. There's equipment being moved around. Want to bring your A game. That just means come with a good attitude, do your best, have fun, make the most of the weekend. Keeping it clean is an important piece. There's this phenomenon that happens with human nature where if one person puts a gum wrapper on the floor, all of a sudden someone else puts a gum wrapper there, and this mob mentality seems to turn it into a pile of trash. And I've seen it happen at races. I've seen it happen in public environments, and you've probably seen it happen too. So we want to avoid that. And we want to all work together to just keep the environment clean. So if you see some trash, just pick it up. I do that all the time. It'll just become habit, and it'll just really make the experience better for participants and for volunteers. Nobody wants to be in a messy space. And if you do need help with anything at all, help your fellow volunteers. There'll be race officials, as were mentioned in the slides, wearing radios and identified with, I was going to show my volunteer crew shirt. I forgot to bring it up to my desk, but ask for help if you need it. We're all here to support each other. And yeah, once again, thank you. Thank you. The arrival time for everyone's shift is going to be different, and you'll have that arrival time in your volunteer information summary, you could call it. But if you could plan to be on site and at the check-in center a few minutes before, I have 10 to 15 minutes here. Sometimes the line does get quite long depending on how many groups are checking in at one time. I don't anticipate anyone's going to wait in line for 10 minutes, but if you wanted to come a few minutes early so that you can grab a coffee, maybe just kind of get your sense of where we are in the building, if it's your first time, that kind of thing, get checked in, get your t-shirt. It does just help. It helps the volunteer center, and just for your awareness too, it will get busy at times, so just be aware of that. Right, and then some volunteer leads will want to do a short orientation with you at the check-in location before you go out on site. So that's another reason to get there early, just to make sure that you catch that orientation. Talked a little bit about the transportation or the taking the train as transportation into the site in the earlier slides. We were talking about, or it talked about, if you take the train, then you're going to be close to the volunteer center in GMC Stadium. And if you can take the train, it's a really great option for getting into the site. Parking is pretty good. We've got a good parking plan, but the train is also really efficient for the location that we're at. So if you do take the train, it's the Earlton station that you would get off at, and then you'll just walk into the Stampede grounds. And then if you are driving, there's going to be road closures throughout the city for this event. Roads have to close for this event to take place. And so just make sure that you're not going to get stuck being unable to take your normal route. So just double check road closures at this link here before heading out if you're just unsure.
Juanita, can I just jump in with a few questions to get ahead,
Yes.
because they may apply? Just bear with me as I kind of move back here. I'm just going to read the question and then give an answer. And if anyone needs to follow up, they can just put it into the chat directly to me. So there's a person that was asking about the first timers dinner. This is one of the events that was
Oh,
listed
yeah.
during our race week. You
Mhm.
would have to go onto the Calgary Marathon website and you can just search the event, but it's a registration event. You do require a ticket for it. So if you search Calgary Marathon First Timers Dinner, you can find the link on Race Roster to be able to do that. There's a question about it says how, where, and when can we get our package kit volunteer like shirt? I'm assuming the person is talking about their volunteer shirt and signing in. You've spoken to coming to your volunteer check-in location 10 to 15 minutes early. Did you want to add anything to that?
Yes, thank you for pulling that question out. That's an important one. So we've actually made a decision just today. So this is breaking news, if you will, a slight change to the check-in plan that we have been talking about up until now, which is just that all check-in, all volunteers checking in will check in at the GMC Stadium Room 30X Volunteer Center. And that's because we actually can't get power out to the tent. And logistically, it was starting to look a little clumsy to have a check-in tent out there that we can't fully operate as well as we would like to. And so the space, what this means for you is that if you were thinking of checking in at that check-in satellite tent on the parking lot that we saw on the map at the beginning of this presentation, you'll still pass by that, and that'll be a spot where you can actually look at maps of the course. We're going to have it set up so that there's almost like a little bit of a mini information tent, if you will. And then you'll be guided into the GMC Stadium from there.
Excellent. And then somebody was asking about how to get the parking pass. I'll just reiterate what you had said. If you go to the volunteer hub within the resources section, which section specifically is the volunteer pass on?
It's on the resources, volunteer resources page. And there's kind of a little picture of part of the pass. You can see part of the V on the image. And if you click on that picture or the link below it that says volunteer pass, a PDF should open up for you. And from there, you can print off that first page.
And someone says that they've joined the volunteer crew but want to know what their shift information is. Can you guide them around their email and their volunteer profile link?
Yes, definitely. So that's one of our top questions and a great one too. So on the volunteer hub on the first page, the first landing page, if you scroll down to the bottom, there's a tile that says volunteer profile. I believe I'm just doing this by memory a bit now, but volunteer profile. And that if you click on that, a web page will open up where you can enter your email address, and a link to your volunteer profile will be emailed to you, from which you can then click a link that'll open up, again, profile. How many times can I say the word profile? But that'll contain your shift information, the time of your shift, etc.
I'll just add a couple of extra questions here. If you have specific questions about your volunteer shift, they can email, or pardon me, they can first check the profile, but also reach out to volunteer@calgarymarathon.com, understanding that there's a high volume of emails right now. So please try and look to find your information. If you're an aid station volunteer or a course marshal volunteer, you're going to go directly out to course. You don't come onto the Stampede site to check in first. All of that instructions will be given to you in your reminder emails for that. If you're an aid station volunteer, your aid station lead will tell you where your location is. If someone has a question about road closures and how they impact getting onto site, On the calgarymarathon.com website, there is, if you go on to the information about the races, there's an interactive map that people can click on. And at the very bottom, there's road closures. So you can slide the bar up and down and be able to see when road closures are, but do allow ample time, of course, to make it. And for all volunteers that are on Stampede Park where your shift takes place, please arrive 10 to 15 minutes before your shift start time on your volunteer profile. So if it says you're starting at 10 o'clock, be at the volunteer center 9:45 to check in. We really want everybody to come early. If you're a medical specific person, again, your medical information will be communicated to you by the medical team. So I'll just leave that question, Elman, to be able to follow up on. You'll hear from the medical team. Volunteer check-in happens regardless of the date of your shift. So if you're coming on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, you always want to check at the volunteer check-in location that's open. If you're coming down to Stampede Park. And if you are a few minutes late, Juanita, how would you respond to that?
If you are running a few minutes late, or even lots of minutes late, if you're late at all, just come to the check-in center. We'll go through the check-in process as normal, and then we'll just need to unite you with your crew, and that'll be kind of a case-by-case way of how we do that, depending on where you are on site and how far into the shift it is. But just continue to get yourself to the volunteer center to check in.
Perfect. And I think one question that came through that's really, really important. Somebody asked, if you are signed up to be a volunteer, can you bring family members, your children to help you volunteer? Unfortunately, we do need all volunteers to be registered. And part of that is that some roles do have age restrictions on them. So children may be too young to be in particular roles, such as a very busy finish line. So please do not bring anyone that is not registered in the volunteer local system. This is intentional for your safety, for children's safety, and for everyone else that's attending on site. Anything else to add to that, Juanita?
No, those are all good points. I think one thing just came to mind though, as we were answering some of those questions, is just I'll pull up the volunteer hub just at the end of this slide presentation, just to demo really quickly what's in there and where you can find the pass. I've also got a page set up of frequently asked questions, and in case you can find your answer there before emailing or messaging me, just because the volume, I'm starting to not be able to keep up to some of the messages. I'm trying my best to get back to everyone. Actually, on that note too, just anecdotally, I am so sorry for any very short, brief messages I've sent out over the last 2 days, because I'm just trying to reply quickly. So I hope that they haven't been too impersonal sounding, but my apologies if you were on the receiving end of a very short response for me. That's why. All right. Okay, I'll pick this up. For both personal belongings, sometimes we'll have volunteers come with backpacks or personal belongings, and we don't actually have a secure location for volunteers to leave their belongings. So only bring with you what you can keep on your person. So hip pack, small backpack, whatever you are able to wear that day, that's great. Also a reusable water bottle or coffee mug or hydration pack, whatever you like to use for hydration, please bring that. We try and be as green as possible, so that helps us reduce some packaging and stuff getting thrown into the garbage from the event. Again, watch the weather. We do have some sunscreen, bug spray in the volunteer tent, but always good to bring that as well, especially if you have any type of sensitivities, like if your skin is sensitive or something. Just bring things that are going to keep you comfortable. And so we already talked a little bit about what to wear when I was saying dress for success and for safety, but here's just a recap again. So dress in layers, dress for appropriate weather, and no flip-flops. That's really the big one. a small backpack or running pack, as I was just mentioning, and then the volunteer t-shirt that you'll get at check-in, that can go right over top of a jacket if it's cold out, or over top of a t-shirt if you come in a t-shirt. Just needs to be visible so that we can tell we're all part of the same volunteer crew. And then again, I'm going to pop up the volunteer hub at the end here, and I'll show you how to bookmark that as well if you'd like. And then keep the lead of your crew, the contact for the lead from your crew handy, as they will be the person to contact directly on race day or on your shift day, because they are going to be the people that have information for you that you need, that's specific to your shift. The Run Calgary volunteer program for Servus Calgary Marathon issues volunteer hour certificates. And so you'll be receiving an email at the end of the event. And in that email, we'll have a link to your volunteer certificate. And then you can also access your volunteer certificate by accessing your Run Calgary profile. And then if you are collecting hours, or sorry, using your volunteer hours for credits, for high school credits, please print off that form, and have your volunteer lead sign off on that before the end of your shift. So it won't be something that gets signed in the volunteer center. It'll be something that your lead signs off because they're the ones working with you. So I have a point here that is, this is a way of trying to acknowledge and also invite those of our volunteer community who are really, interested in getting even more involved. I started out as a volunteer as well, and I've now working with Run Calgary. And so I was just one of those people that wanted to put up my hand. And when there was opportunities that I knew about, I was like, oh, there's opportunities to do more. So calling all leaders, if there's anyone out there that does want to do more with the Run Calgary program or Servus Calgary Marathon volunteer program, please message me at volunteer@calgarymarathon.com, or let your lead know during the shift. In any way or fashion, please just get in touch. We'd love to hear from you, and we'd love to hear what you're interested in bringing to the table and how you'd like to get involved. So a note on cancellations. Cancellations haven't been that bad this year. And so thank you for still being here and not canceling, because you are here. Although we have had some cancellations, just a point about last minute cancellations. If it's very last minute, it's almost impossible for us to be able to fill that shift. And it just has a cascading effect, because then as we're in this training session now, there's been other people in other training sessions, and it's hard to move volunteers into other groups late in the game because they don't maybe have the training that's needed. And then if we don't have enough people in the shift, everyone else has to kind of pick up the slack, and it just can create a few tangles there. So we understand that life happens. And sometimes you're not feeling well. You definitely don't want people working in a volunteer shift if you're unwell, or something happens, family emergency or what have you. But please, if at all possible, stay committed to your shift, and pass it on to your volunteer friends as well. We really appreciate that everyone is showing up for their shift. So as Joe was mentioning, we have the 2 days of races this year, so a Saturday and a Sunday. And so what that means for volunteers, so the impact that that's having on our program is just that we've got a little bit more to do. So we're going to have more volunteers on site this year than we've had in the past. We're going to have a few different jobs, a few new jobs, volunteer jobs that we haven't had before. For the most part, things will be status quo if you're a longtime volunteer, but the program is getting quite big, and the event is getting big. So this 2 days is impacting us a little bit. One of the things that we are doing for volunteers, or that Run Calgary is doing for volunteers to give back to you, is offering an incentive for the registration to be a participant in the Calgary Police Classic, which is a run coming up in September. So if there's anybody who's volunteering who's also a secret passionate runner that wants to take advantage of that, you'll be getting a code automatically after the event weekend that'll let you sign up for the Calgary Police Classic for 50% off. Or if you are inspired on race weekend and want to try, we thought that was a really great way to introduce running to a group of folks who are in the community but maybe haven't participated in a race. So give it a try. It's a great race. It's smaller than the marathon, but be an awesome first time experience. Or if you have been thinking about it for a while, just keep your eyes peeled for that promo code because it'll be coming in your email. I'll just hit one more point here, and then I can see out of the side of my eye that there's more questions coming in. So maybe I'll pause there for a sec. The last bullet point here that's talking about resume builder. This year, we've actually had a really great response from youth and youth programs in terms of youth volunteers. And it kind of got us thinking about how much the experience of volunteering can actually be great for your resume. So I know I've got my volunteer experience on my LinkedIn, and I have it on my resume as well. I like current present day. So just wanted to call that out. So there's a sheet or a page in the volunteer handbook that we've kind of took time to highlight some of the skills that you can use or some suggestions of skills maybe that you want to list on your resume, and just really take pride and know that these are really meaningful jobs that you're doing. It's a volunteer job. You're doing it because you want to be here, not because you have to be here. And it's really legitimate work experience. So please take a look at that and add it to your resume, and network also while you're at the event. It's a great way to kind of get a leg up if you're out there in the job market.
Anita, can I jump in and just ask or answer a few questions here? I'm just going to start from the bottom because questions are flying in and I'm trying to keep track of them. So if everybody could just be patient and just be very pointed in your question. If you've heard the answer, please don't send it again because we're getting a little behind. A person asked about if their shift is on NMAX Park, where should they park their car or any roads close around? That information is on the Volunteer Hub. It's listed on the Volunteer Pass, and it explains exactly how you can access that information. It's also in the Volunteer Handbook that you can access on the Volunteer Hub as well. So please make that your first resource. All that information is explained in there. There was a question about what was the race you said we could join to try the smaller race. If you are volunteering at Calgary Marathon, you will get a code to be for a discount to be applied towards the Calgary Police Classic, and you'll receive that information afterwards. Is that correct, Juanita?
That's right. Yeah.
Okay. Very important question. Someone asked if the volunteer parking pass can be used on race day if they're racing before their volunteer shift. Please, absolutely not. We are so short on parking for volunteers that if all the racers start using it on their non-volunteering days, we will not have any spaces for our volunteers. So it is for volunteers only, not for race day participants, not if you're doing both jobs just on your volunteer shifts. Somebody asked about the post-race party at 5 p.m. on Sunday. That's the after party that's open to everyone. It's not volunteer specific, but you can see more information on the Calgary Marathon social channels about it and also on our website. Big question, do we need to check out at the end of our shift? No, only check in. You do not need to check out. I am just looking at any others. We talked about picking up credentials and volunteer shifts or volunteer shirts when you sign in for your volunteer shift. That's a common question. So everybody check in, get your shirt, get your credentials. Meals and snacks will be provided. There's no cost for those. There were some specific questions from people about volunteering and using volunteering requirements. You did talk about getting the volunteer hours. And if there's anything specific, they can email you 2 weeks after the event for more follow-up on that. And if you have documents that need to be signed for school, you can get your area lead to sign off on those directly. So that's another, I'm not sure if you mentioned that. So I will say that. I think I've caught up. There was one individual, Steve, you were asking a question specific to your role. I've asked a member of our team to follow up with that and to advise you where you're going to be assigned. I think we're all caught up now. If there's any, oh, nope, there's new messages. Why don't you keep going and I will check if there's any new questions here.
Okay. I was doing a little bit of background cinematography here just for everyone to get a little demo of the volunteer hub. This is also going to be where you can have many of your questions answered. So I'll just kind of recap where I was going here while Jill was responding. When you go to the volunteer hub link that's been sent out in different ways, emails, etc. You'll come to this page, and right now we've got just our volunteer orientations on this page because that's what we are doing this week. So it's the most important stuff for people to do. This is the volunteer profile link. And what happens if you click on there is you open up this volunteer registration page for Run Calgary, and then you can enter your email here. And once you click submit, you'll get a email sent to you with a link to your profile. And in that profile, you'll see your volunteer shift, a description of the shift, the time that you're showing up, the name of the shift, etc. If anybody has trouble accessing this site, please feel free to message me directly. I've had a few people say that they needed to log into a Google account, which is stumping me a little bit. So I'd like to work through that with those people that are having trouble accessing this. So please do connect with me if that's the case for you. This is also where we will have our volunteer handbook. And so I did have that open here somewhere. I'll just open it again. It's a PDF, so you can download it or you can just look at it here on site, but it's got the information that we went through today in our presentation, as well as just a little bit more detail on the information that we talked about today. I'm just going to scroll down here. I want to get to that resume builder page. Hopefully it'll reload. At the end of this document, we've got this resume builder page. So yeah, if you're in the job market or looking to add some new info to your resume, check this out. Might give you some ideas there. And then the parking pass is also on the volunteer hub. I'm going to this tab at the top that says volunteer resources. And this is the volunteer pass. And if you click on that, that's opening a PDF as well. And again, you can download it or just print from here. The first page is all you need to display. And then the frequently asked questions, again, these are all just collapsed sections. So here's the question. If you click on it, then it's going to open up and give you the answers. So lots of maps. That's usually the biggest question, is just, where am I going? How am I getting there? Do I need to pay for things? So those questions will be answered hopefully in this hub. And I'm still adding to it as well. Just as we get closer to race day, some things are changing a little bit or questions are coming up. So if you don't see something there today, you might find it there tomorrow again. And I'm just putting that out there because I'm a little bit pokey right now getting back on messages, but I am doing my best. With that, that's actually the end of our orientation today. I'm just looking at the questions that are in this chat here and see.
There was a question about Calgary Transit. Calgary Transit is not free for volunteers. It's only available to race participants. So please, we do encourage you to still use the LRT system or Calgary Transit because it is going to be a greener option than driving. But we do offer free parking. Unfortunately, we haven't been able to partner with Calgary Transit in the same way for volunteers. It is a goal in the future, Juanita, as you've been part of those discussions, but not quite yet.
Yeah. Did we talk about the meal tickets? I'm not sure or meals.
Meals, I just mentioned in the chat that meals are going to be provided in the volunteer center on race day through the volunteer hospitality tent. Some areas will have them brought to you specifically depending on where you are if we can't get you easily away, but you'll follow the direction of your leads. Juanita, anything else to add to that?
I think that's a wrap pretty much. Yeah.
No pun intended. Nando's is our
yeah.
Nando's is our I was going to say Nando's is our volunteer food partner again. This year we are very lucky to have them as the sponsor, and so Saturday and Sunday will be wraps again, and Friday will be hot service, and Thursday will have its own meal for those small amounts that are coming down. Mm-hmm. Juanita, you knocked it out of the park, and everybody, I think we need to say thank you to Juanita. She's put so much work into this volunteer hub to bring it up to be a really strong resource. So I just want to thank, on behalf of Run Calgary, this has been an exceptional addition to our volunteer program. And I can see in the comments as well that the information and having that in a standard resource is so important.
Awesome. Well, I hope it works. It's our first year using it. I'm sure there's going to be a couple little kinks to work out, but we're doing our best. And I did just drop a link into the chat for those who don't have the link handy. Thanks so much for your help in the background there, Jill. That's awesome. Thanks.
No problem. And I redropped it as well, just in case not everybody could see it. So it's there as well.
All right, you amazing volunteers. We'll see you in a few days. For a few days, probably. So thank you so much for attending tonight. Have a great rest of your evening. And I'm going to stop sharing my screen and then we can stop recording as well.